she was going through a divorce, and she had gotten some funds to be able to purchase a new property from the divorce. But
wait,
like
it was a female?
Yes.
That just got divorced?
Yeah.
Calling you at 8:30?
Yeah. But man, I keep it all the way professional, bro. Plus, bro, I ain't gotta cheat his body. You hear me?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we turn challenges into opportunities and dreams into reality. I'm Larry, and this is the co-host Leo.
What's up, everybody? I'm standing in the middle of this parking lot in the middle of Atlanta here telling you that if you are enjoying our episodes, if you're finding value in our content, we have a special request for you today.
That's right, Leo. We pour our hearts into creating this podcast, and we share our entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and insights with you all, and we want to keep bringing the best content possible.
But we need your help! We need your help, man. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button and joined our community, do it now. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear our latest stories and strategies.
Plus, subscribing helps us grow and reach more people just like you. It's a win-win. Your support means the world to us, and it motivates us to keep leveling up our game.
Don't forget, hit the notification bell too, all right? You're always going to be in the loop with the new episodes drop. We release new content every Thursday at noon Eastern.
So what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button now, and let's continue this journey together.
Thanks for all your support, everyone. We can't wait to see where this journey takes us next.
Until next time.
Peace.
Boom! Welcome back. You're listening to another episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we transform challenges into opportunities and dreams into realities. I'm Larry, and as always, joined by the co-host, Brother Leo. And today, we are sharing some of our most nightmare client and business scenarios. Leo, as always, it's great to have you here for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. We're happy to be here. And I know y'all thinking, man, why this man dancing every intro? Ain't no music. I got my own music, my own life theme music that I rock to.
We got to keep it rocking through these rocky scenarios that we go through as business owners.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We all have peaks and the valleys. So we're going to kind of shed some light on the valleys that we have to go through sometimes in the chase towards the paper.
So there's different levels as you grow in your entrepreneurship journey. There's some things that you will have to endure in the beginning that when you get a little bit further into it and you have a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more experience, a little bit pipeline, then you don't have to take some things. So the first scenario I'm going to bring up is the know-it-all client. The client that knows it all, isn't in your industry, but he or she believes they could do your job just as well, if not better than you. So that happens way too often in the real estate world, especially when clients bring in their uncle or their dad who bought a house 20 years ago to tell them exactly what to do.
Let me just warn the audience, like this is gonna kind of be a therapy session for both of us. So
yes, very cathartic. So join in, and if you're listening to this on a platform where you can comment below. Let us know what your nightmare scenario is, and it doesn't have to be in your entrepreneurial journey. It could be nightmare boss. It could be a nightmare customer. Like, share. It's cathartic to get it out there. So this scenario is the know-it-all client, and the one I picked out for my know-it-all client is I was referred. I have the pleasure of working with military families, and I was referred this lieutenant major who was moved out to MacDill Air Force Base. His previous post was in Jacksonville, Florida. So he came here and said, hey, got referred that he wants to purchase a condo or a single family in the Tampa area. So I have my process already. We do our buyer consultation, talk about what you're looking for, we set expectations. And he from the top said, well, I think everything is really overpriced, and I'm gonna be very aggressive with my offers. I said, well, this market doesn't really lend itself to offers that are $20,000, $30,000 below asking. And I showed him, this is back in, I want to say 2017. Yeah. So very normal market. And I said, well, the market doesn't lend itself to that. And I pull up stats and they show them, okay, everything is selling about 98% of list price. What that means is that there are some that are going at or above list price. But on average, in my market, this is what things are going for. And I drilled down deeper, showed him the condos and the zip codes and areas that he's looking at. And he still wants to put in really low ball offers. So I said, okay, I will allow you to see that you're wrong for a little bit and see if you're really going to be somebody that says, okay, I thought one thing, but the evidence shows something different. And I showed him the evidence. He didn't bother with that. Then I said, okay, maybe the experience will show you different. So I went and I put in offers a couple of times, and all of them got rejected. I even showed him some of the communication between me and the other agent. That's the agent's talking about, are you crazy? What is this offer? And I said, yeah, I know my client's aggressive. And all this stemmed from, he bought a condo in Jacksonville back when the market was collapsing back in 2006 for like $200,000 under what it's worth now. And he's thinking he's going to get that same deal here. And I finally worked 15 different angles, got him to put in an offer that was okay, that the offer that would be accepted. Not to get into too much details, but it was a good offer, and he was good with it. It was going to go forward. Then he called me the next day, said, no, I want to take $20,000 off the price. I said, right on the phone, I wasn't even prepared for it. But there's a point in every relationship when you have to realize I'm no longer giving value, but you're taking my time, which is my most valuable resource.
Yep.
So I have to reclaim my time. So I said, hey, Sergeant Major, I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you, but I don't think I could serve you any longer in the capacity of your agent. And he was like, oh, why? What? I said, well, I've shown you the data. I've put in offers with those below asking price, those really low ball offers, and they haven't been accepted. And we got an offer that you are getting a significant discount. It's not $20,000, but they're paying a lot of your fees and your closing costs, reducing your out-of-pocket significantly. But now you want to reduce the price another $20,000. I don't think I'm the right agent for you. But what I can do is I will send your information back to the referral team, and they will find a better agent to suit you, because I'm sorry, but I can no longer serve in that capacity. And he was like, oh man, no. You know, I just think that it's well overpriced. I said, I ran the analysis. I did the marketing analysis, showed you that we're getting a great buy. I told you how the condominium right now is going to skyrocket. You're seeing across the road from where you're purchasing, they are building new mid and high rises starting in the 700,000s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what you're not trusting me as the expert, so I can't help you anymore. So after that, I called the referral company, the referral department, and they said, "Oh, really?" And I gave them the scenario. They're like, "Well, we're not gonna subject any of our agents to that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna reassign him to somebody else for him to try to beat down and not trust their expertise. So if you know it all, do it all by yourself." That's my first, like, I'm going to start it out like that's my first nightmare scenario from the know-it-all kind. What about you?
This goes back to, I think, when I first got started full-time in the business. I forgot how I developed a relationship with this guy. He was running a ministry in California. It wasn't a church, but it was like a ministry. He sold books. He did a lot of like podcast recordings, and he was looking for a website, a website design that
Was he
would
like an
basically
evangelist?
give. Say it again.
Was he like an evangelist?
He wasn't an evangelist, more like a teacher that had books that he wanted to get out into the market.
Okay.
And this should have been my first like news flash, because he had just stopped working with another guy that charged him a bunch of money. I was giving him a fraction of a deal.
Yeah.
Compared to what the other person had offered him. The other guy, he had designed it. He locked up his design. He wasn't giving them access to anything. He was just, and they were so upset about it. It was a few other guys on their team, and it was actually local, so I actually drove out to their studio and met with them and talked about what I can do for them. And you just getting started in the business, you're glad you have a first client. You're going to make, a little bit of money off of it. We were all going to be friends afterwards, and we were going to do a lot of business together, and it was just going to be great. I swear I must have done 10 different designs. So the way I structure my business usually is it's a 50% deposit and 50% at the end of the project. So we put the 50% down. It was good. He was actually a very wealthy guy too, which is funny, but extremely difficult to work with. Super picky, like just has an issue with everything. There's no resolution, and he's always wanting to squeeze as much out of a deal as he possibly could. And after about the fifth revision, I was like, man, I'm just getting squeezed off of this.
So he's picky, but he doesn't know what he wants.
Basically, when I first started on the project, I asked, like, we went over, what he was looking for.
Yeah.
And
the onboarding questions and stuff.
and I was like, dude, this is exactly what you asked me for. But there was always something that could basically cause the whole thing to get ran over. To have to do it over again, like, and I got like so upset in the process. I sent them like multiple emails where I'm like, in a really nice way, just going off.
Yeah, the corporate cuss out.
Basically, and I'm going off like, yo, like, I don't know how many times we're gonna keep doing this. Like you said, you were a believer in Jesus, and you're treating me like this. There was some condescension to the whole deal, like where he's like, yeah, I realize you're just getting started. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, I did not charge you enough to go through this. I told him that. I was like, I did not charge you enough, and you're continuing to like just go back and forth. And he was a bit condescending too, like, yeah, I realize, yeah, you're just getting started in this business. And obviously I realized that you didn't realize how demanding this project was going to be, and all these different things. I was like,
but you took my non-demanding price though.
You did, and you're not giving me a real, like, you're not allowing this project to land. Like, this was only supposed to be a few months, and it ended up going to like 4 to 5 months. It just was a great example of, one, you have to, especially with when I learned how demanding, especially like real intense web designs can be. like you have to charge for those. Like you
Yeah,
can't
and limit the
just
revisions or have a fee for additional revisions.
right. And when you think, oh, this is you're discounting or you're not, you can't say like unlimited revisions. You can't say because some people are going to look at that and they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to take advantage of it. Like I know there's obviously a limit, but there's some people who will just go down to the floor with you, and
Yeah,
you have to learn to put a limit on what you're going to do, and also understand the value that you're adding. Like with with okay, you're not offering them a cheap deal like they might get on Upwork or on Fiverr, but you're also you if you understand what you're doing, you're offering them a great product, and this is something they're investing in. So yeah, it eventually finished, but I was like, dude, I'm never working with you all. I became real good friends with one of the guys in the thing, and I would like go I would talk to him, and he'd be like, man, yeah, I know so and so is is a jerk, and he's not gonna let this go. Like,
yeah.
anyways,
You gotta put borders. Yeah, I mean, even in real estate, like when you go to build a house, they tell you there's a drop dead date. Like, okay, boom, you have to tell us exactly what you want by this date. Any revisions after that, it's gonna cost you.
yep,
And it's gonna cost you for the revision plus the fee of actually doing the change. Because if you don't do that, people will keep going back and forth. Oh man, I should go with this backsplash. I should go with that back. Now I should do the pop filler. No, I don't want to do the pop filler. I should do the gourmet kitchen. No, I don't want to do the gourmet kitchen anymore. Can we have white cabinets and gray or gray and white? Like, bro, you've already picked. You told me what you wanted. I gave it to you. Now you see it and you're like, man, that really ain't what I wanted. All right. Well, I could do that, but I ain't gonna do it for free.
right,
Giving you what you wanted initially cost me. Yeah,
exactly.
so I've been there, and I've had customers do that and say, "Hey, Leo, can we change the tile?" I'm like, "No, it's too late."
Wow.
I tell you, no, you can't do it. You can't do it now. You had a chance. You had an opportunity to pick what you want. Now that you no longer want it, that does not mean that we have to move heaven and earth to replace the tile, because when you had the opportunity, you had 2 weeks or however long to pick, you got to pick. But yeah, the flip floppers, the change with the wind. I want this, I want that. I can't do that.
That was actually a light one for me as well. I got a few others.
Oh yeah. My next nightmare scenario. So I'm saving the most egregious for last. My next nightmare scenario was, it started out good. Started out good customer, good experience in
hmm
my estimation. And the reason why it became a nightmare is, you know how when people get like, okay, you're supposed to make the person feel like they're your only customer,
Yeah.
right? But when they actually start believing you're their only customer, like, bro, I have other clients to service. I have other showings. I have other deals going on.
Yeah.
And no, you can't call me at 8:30 at night. Like in real estate, as they say, there are no emergencies in real estate. Like, bro, anything that you need done, I promise you, the world isn't going to fall apart between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m.
Right.
Promise you. When it comes to real estate, that's not going to happen. And that's why commercial real agents, they don't even work weekends. No weekends, no holidays. and not picking up the phone after 5 o'clock. And that's it.
Yeah.
9 to 5 is when you find them, Monday through Friday. And Friday, you might not find them after 3.
And no holidays.
No holidays. No holidays at all. And that goes for emails too. So this client kept calling and asking question after question. And I'm like, I want you to feel comfortable in the experience. I want you to be educated in the experience. But I also want you to know there are boundaries. Just like you got a family, I got a family. Right? And just like you. So that's part of why I started setting that boundary when I do my buyer consultation. Tell them, hey, I answer calls between this and this. If I'm unavailable, I'll send you a text and I'll try to get back to you if it's after this time. I'll call you the next day. But I didn't have that initially. And my time was just getting sucked up in this one transaction. And because of that, I think I lost additional transactions because I just allowed them to believe that they were the only customer and they felt like they could call in any day, any time. And I was picking up the phone.
What was it in you that like let this particular customer, like, because you could just not answer and just call them back in the morning, but like what was it in you that kept allowing that to happen?
I was young. I was younger. I was insecure.
Yeah.
And I was just like afraid of losing that commission, man. I was like, it's a nice 8 little grand right there. Why didn't you get that? Let me get that off you. I want that. I need that. That's big money now. But back then it was even bigger money. Yeah, I was like, well, I need. So I'm picking up the phone and I'm talking. I'm in the kitchen talking and chit chatting with the customer, man. And after it was all said and done, and okay, to give you a little bit more background, she was going through a divorce, and she had gotten some funds to be able to purchase a new property from the divorce. But
wait,
like
it was a female?
Yes.
That just got divorced?
Yeah.
Calling you at 8:30?
Yeah. But man, I keep it all the way professional, bro. Plus, bro, I ain't got a cheater's body. You hear me? My body ain't made for cheating, okay? So I'm getting calls about stuff that have nothing to do with real estate. She's like, well, he's threatening to take our dogs if I don't give in another $100,000.
Call your lawyer.
Call your lawyer. Because the lawyer ain't answering, bro. I ain't answering. The lawyer not answering. But
she probably knew you were a pastor before, huh?
No. Counseling. I mean, I probably give that vibe. I didn't make mention of that. So yeah, I'm like, man, okay. And she's like, yeah, because he knows I love those dogs. And I would give anything for them. Like 100,000? In my mind, I'm like 100,000? 100,000? You could have them 2 dogs for 100,000. For 100,000? You could have those 2 dogs. I'm sorry. I've been hearing about dogs selling for like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. But 100,000? Yeah, it was just emotional attachment. And guess what? She gave up that extra 100,000 so she could keep the dog.
Oh my gosh!
But he knew exactly what button to push, bro. And like this guy, I know more than I should. Yeah. You know how you go from your role and they all of a sudden make you their therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Like he cheated, he got caught cheating. came home. She confronted him, and he was like, "Okay, so what are you gonna do? You're not going anywhere. You got nowhere to go. You know, I got all the money. I got all. You know what I mean? This guy had like crazy money, and you know his wife was his age, and he decided to get a newer model, like 20 years younger, and he he was he was ready to be done with it and make her life horrible. And because she was now living alone, had to share custody of the dogs until the lawyer like and so when it let me call my agent. Like, dang man, come on. I mean, I can't really help you in this. Not no more. But now I have, you know, I've set those boundaries. Like, bruh, you know, I'll listen a little bit, but it better be during my working hours. Like, I ain't picking up the phone. 7 o'clock I ain't picking up the phone. 6:30 I ain't really picking up the phone, right? Unless we have a prearranged appointment because maybe you get off at work and you know, like I'll make exceptions, but it cannot be the rule.
I'm like, if it's a quick text, I'll text you. But if it's a call after a certain point, you won't catch that. You won't get that in the morning. Hey, I saw you called.
Yeah, sir. You got to build those boundaries.
Most people will understand that. Like,
I would hope so, but it don't be like that though. I would hope some people understand, like, hey, this person actually has a family. He's doing this to feed his
young
family.
kids.
Bro, my kids were young too, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah.
I have my second one now. I'm even worse now. Especially that no sleep.
Oh yeah,
bro.
You gotta catch me during my good times.
For real.
Yeah, you gotta catch me during my good times.
But yeah, that's wild. Homegirl was tripping.
Yeah, tripping hard.
Well, let me give my second one so we can get into our final juicy stories.
Yeah,
this nightmare scenario was actually not with a client, but with a subcontractor. Oh gosh. So this is another the websites, them real big website designs are a beast. Especially if you're doing like these major projects, like these major packages.
Yeah.
So I had this client, bro. He was a dope client, man. Like, he was easy going. It's funny too. Like, the client before was like a really successful business guy who just did ministry, not as like a career, but just something, you know, he felt the Lord was calling him to do, and had a lot of resources he could put into it. Similar scenario with this next guy. Very successful business guy, easygoing, kind of dabbling in the ministry, had a book coming out, same type of thing, wanting to promote his book, knew about me. We had done work before, minor projects together, really liked working with me, etc., etc. We were good, man, and he was wanting to put out this website for a book. And I had it was at a time when I was really busy with a lot of different things I was doing. So I hired this subcontractor to do the website. Here's the thing, like, the way that we did it at this point, we were a little less ghetto than we had been prior. So what we would do is we would mock up the site. So we would get the content from the client, we would mock it up on a PDF. Once it's approved, then we transfer it over into the actual domain. We had mocked up the mock-up had gotten approved from the client. It was wordy. This was a pretty extensive site. But once it got approved, then I was like, all right, can you just... So basically all she really had to do was put the site into the web browser. bro. She couldn't get the site where it had a bunch of errors on it.
A lot of bugs.
It was at a particular time that I didn't have like real time to really focus and like check it to make sure that the stuff was done right according to what we had.
Oh
And I just kind of blindly trusted her that she did what I told her to do. And I sent it over to the client. Yo,
no! Expect what you expect.
bro, he basically printed it off, like he like PDF'd it and just marked it up
Line by line.
And I got his mark. He's like, Larry, I don't understand why. Like, I felt so bad. He's like, I spent 4 hours going through this site. I don't get what the problem is. But, and I'm reading the email. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because again, here the way that we do it, it's a 50% deposit and then 50% at the end of the project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he goes through it, he prints it off, he starts writing. He's like, bro, we're not. This is and this is 3 times he did this.
Whoa.
And again, I'm like, I'm gonna take.
So after the first time, you didn't go back to check her work?
I did, but some of the revisions were a bit confusing too, and I didn't have time to get on a call with him. But yeah, I have to take, like, I got to take the L on it. But at the same time, fam, like, like, I'm trying to get this project finished. Eventually he was like, look, I'm just gonna take my loss on this, but we ain't finishing this.
Wow. Dang.
I had already spent it. I had already spent it. I was like, dude, I fired her. I'm like, yo, you was never, ever.
I would have fired her after the first revision.
But then I would have had to go and find somebody else to do it and tell them what to do. I was like, yo, I don't have time to do that. And
she probably didn't have the skill set to.
That's the part. Damn. She didn't have.
And she probably bigged up her resume big time.
Huge.
Yeah, those have been my scenarios with hiring overseas, man. Sometimes
I was so mad, and I went off on her like, yo, you just caused me to lose blankety blank. And now I can't even, if I felt like it was he dropped out unjustly, I would have fought like, nah, man, and I actually, after the second revision, I was like, no, we're going to get this situated, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up being too much. And I had to just say, he just was like, nah, man, we ain't doing this no more.
Damn.
And cut out. And that was a good client too. I still get upset over that.
The one that got away, and it's because of the
not having the right people in place.
Yeah.
Not vetting them, not like you got to pay for quality, and sometimes we'll just be trying to skim a little bit just
and you got to fire quickly too. Hire slowly, fire quickly. I'm sorry, especially overseas. I'm sorry. I've fired many of VAs overseas.
Half the time, if they're subcontracting what your work to somebody else.
Yeah, bro. Like I've seen agencies try to get some of the stuff that I put out there that I want done. I'm like, okay, you're an agency or individual? Oh, we're agency. Okay, if you're an agency, I need zero like kickback on quality. Like,
yeah,
if it's an individual, there might be something I might have to tweak here and there. But if you're an agency, you should have those checks and balances already in place, and because you're charging more than the individual would typically charge. So yeah, I haven't had good experiences with agencies either. So that's why I stopped looking overseas. But I know some people have some great experiences.
I've been able to get good ones lately because you kind of learn. You can kind of see through.
Oh yeah, the BS. Woo! My BS radar from that's why I do interviews that are live.
Yeah.
Whether it's a video or a call, I want to ask you some questions to see if you really know what you're doing. So, all right. So my nightmare scenario,
Let's get it.
bro. This is a long one, but I'll abbreviate it. And as we're recording this podcast, the nightmare still goes on. Okay. So I got referred a customer by a long standing friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And took great care of that customer. That customer referred me to someone else. And I, with that customer, I helped them sell one property to buy a bigger property. And their spouse approached me and said, "Hey man, I want to get into real estate investing." I said, "Oh yeah, I do that too. I could connect you with some people to help you get some funding, and I could help you identify and purchase a property." And he was like, "All right, cool." So I sent him a couple people. He got denied twice. That should have been my red flag that I should have stopped at. But back then, and I still have to be vigilant about it now, I've got this deficiency where I feel like I want to be somebody's hero. I want to help them save the day. Even if I put myself in peril, I want to look out, right? So me wanting to look out, I said, "Hey man," he came and said, "Yeah man, I just got denied, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, well, I got another property, and at this time I'm doing 3 properties. I got a 4th one that's going to be closing. And I said, I got another property that I'm due to get on in rehab. And if you want, you could partner with me on it. I pay for the acquisition. You pay for the renovation and carrying costs.
Yep.
We sell it. We get our money back. And then we split the profit 65, 35. I'm giving him 65%. I'm keeping 35%. And he's hyped. He's like, "Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go, partner." Were the exact words in that text. All right. So the time comes, and he tells me, he's got some. He's done it before in a small condo, that he has contractors that could help. So we go and I make time. I go over there to meet the contractor, and the contractor is talking about, well, we want $35,000 to start. And I look at him after talking to the contractor. I said, "Bro, I wouldn't hand that contract for $35,000. I don't know how you work, but how I work is you get paid after. I'll give you a small percentage, like 10, 15% to start.
Yeah.
But afterwards is when you get paid. I'm happy to pay a contractor for completed work, but I will not for an event. And you giving them, $35,000 off for it, I don't suggest it."
What percentage would that have been for the whole thing?
So they quoted $80,000 for the rehab. So that's almost half up front.
Yeah.
So he said he listened, and he didn't give them the $35,000. So the first job is supposed to be the roof, to replace the roof, and another red flag. So that's second red flag. The contractor wants $35,000 up front. Third red flag is, no, we're not going to give you the $35,000. And this is his people. Like, he identified this contract. The next red flag is, during the time that they were supposed to put on a new roof, the contractor and whoever the person is that's the actual GC and the person that's supposed to be the project manager are fighting on who gets paid the money. Oh no, give me the money. Oh no, give me the money. Oh no, give. And I'm like, bro. So at this time, I took this call. You guys were in town, and we were downtown. It was you, your wife, your mother-in-law, your daughter. It was Was it Hickson Park? That park down by Armature Works.
Oh yeah.
So
Waterworks.
Waterworks Park. So we're all at the park, and I'm on the phone talking to all three of them. The contractor, the project manager, and my newfound partner. Like, y'all gotta figure this out. Like, why are we fighting on who's gonna get paid the money? What is nobody trustworthy in this thing? And I said, either y'all figure it out or we find somebody else to do the roof. So they figured it out, and then. So, mind you, I'm still doing the other 3 projects and trying to help do this project. But he told me he's done the rehab before and he just needed his foot in the door and he's going to be good. So I go back and there's no demolition being done on the property to get the property ready for the renovation. So they do the drawings, all that. And I say, okay, who is doing the demo and getting the property ready? Oh, we got to wait for this, we got to wait for that. And so while the contractor's telling them, oh, we got to do this, that, and third, the partner is going crazy. So he decides to hire some basers to go in and demo the property. And he guts it, bro. It's supposed to be a lipstick cosmetic rehab. Guts it, bro. Down. I'm talking about took out all the plumbing, took out all the electrical. All right, took everything out, bro. And this is how bad it was for both the contractor and the partner. So the contractor was like, "Well, we're having trouble finding windows," and I said, "Having trouble finding windows?" Now this was during COVID times. I said, "Why are you having trouble finding windows?" Bro, I go to Home Depot out of all places. Now I have a contractor relationship with Home Depot, but they have everything we need.
Right.
So that same week that you're talking, the guy was like, "Oh, it's probably gonna be 6 to 8 weeks before we can get windows." What? Same week we got the windows delivered. We're like, "Okay, y'all gonna put the windows in?" So had to wrangle them to come back, put the windows in, did a terrible job putting the windows in. Didn't put the sufficient number of screws, nails, didn't frame it out correctly. It was terrible, brother. And now what was supposed to be an I'm gonna jump some months, $80,000 project. He spent his money, which a lot of it was taken and run off with by the contractor. And now the contractor took themselves off the permit. So now we have to find a new contractor. And we got to find new money. So at the end of the day, I spent $116,000 American dollars. This isn't like potential spent. Like this is actual money from my actual pocket into this property.
I thought I thought it was you get the acquisition and then he covers. He pays for the contractors.
He out of money. His contractors came, took, and ran off with all the money, bro. And now he's saying, okay. I said, well, we could sell it and take a loss, or we could keep going. He said, yeah, let's keep going. So I said, okay, we'll keep going. And the mistake I made, which I won't make anymore, is I trusted and I saw how I operate, that's how I would expect someone to operate. Nah. Bro, so after spending a total of $116,000 on this property, we got the property ready, put it on the market, right? I mean, there's countless hurdles that we jumped over, right? Everything from he hired a framer, the framer didn't know what the heck he was doing. I had to bring somebody else in to redo what he did, to undo and then redo what he did. So that's double work. And he already got paid. You understand what I'm saying? Like everybody this dude brought on the project did not add to the project, took away from the project. One of his contractors that he brought in, I was like, I had to fire him at the house. I'm like, bro, we no longer need your services. Thank you. He was like, well, don't be calling me back saying you didn't. No, I won't be calling you back. I will not be calling you back. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. And then he went to my partner in the deal was like, hey, you hear what Leo said? Leo said you don't want me here no more. I said, yeah, I said what I said. Bro, every time there's an issue, you don't want to take accountability. Like, bro, like, no, we don't. We're good. We're good. That's another thing to show you that it's very expensive to go cheap. Because we had to redo a lot of the stuff that he did as well. So now the house is done, right? I bring in my people to help get it finished. The only thing that we needed to do is get a stove in there. So I put the house on the market and I said, hey, look, we're going in at a high price because that's what they want. I said, but the market is not showing this price, but we could test the market because it is a really nice house. We could test the market. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to adjust. Put it on the market. A couple months go by, got one showing. And I said, hey, it's time to drop the price. They don't want to drop the price. So the time comes where I go to New York and I'm talking to my buddy, my best friend since we were in, I want to say 9th grade, best man at my wedding. He said, what the heck you doing, Leo? He used more colorful words than that. He's like, man, I would have been gone. I said, yeah, bro. He's like, bro, you need to today sever that relationship right now. Because this guy he's obviously not gonna move this property. And here's the scenario I told him. So we had an insurance check that came in for something that we've already paid to repair. And we had an agreement on how that was going to be dealt with. The moment he left with my signed notarized release for the insurance company, he changed his script. And I texted him and asked, what do you mean? And he didn't text me back. 3 days go by, no text. I'm like, bro, there's nobody that busy. That is disrespectful. That's disrespectful. And that's not how you treat a partner. So I called, his wife called me over something else because I had somebody over at the house fixing the window. And I told him, look, we got to end this partnership. We're going to have to lower the price, sell the property, and go our separate ways. They refused. They refused to do that. And so I ended up having to sue them for something called partition to force them to sell the property. And before that happened, the house next door to us that was purchased after us did a lipstick renovation, sold for $467, and I was like, bro, let's reduce the price to $475 or $479, and we'll get the house sold and we can move on. They didn't want to do that because that was going to be a $50,000 decrease. But guess what? As we talk today, the house, we had to force to sell. The house is now under contract for guess how much? $350,000.
Good God.
That's $129,000 less than what I told you to put it at. and you wanted to fight. I was like, but I give glory to God that He's a keeper, He's a sustainer, He's in the blessing business. Because even while that was going on, I was still moving in blessing, and I was still able to function and do other projects and continuing to do projects and flips and Airbnbs and do all that. But the nightmare, that 116,000, I probably will not see a dime of it. It's gonna get eaten up by lawyers and whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my number one nightmare scenario. Don't ever enter into any kind of business relationship on a handshake. Because if I didn't have the text messages and the communications, it'd be his word against mine, right? On what we had set up. So from here on out, everything is written out. The scope of work is written out. The relationship agreement is written out. And I'm sorry, but I'm making all the decisions. And I've had investors who invested money, and I guaranteed them a certain return, and they've gotten their return. But when it comes to making a decision about the market, about how much the property will sell for, no, you cannot. I cannot leave that decision into anyone else's hands because, like, bro, because you were afraid to lose 50, you lose 100. No, I'm sorry, you lose 200. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah. So that's my last nightmare scenario, which is still going on right now. The case is still active, and there's a lot more like stuff that I could get into with that individual, but there's, bro, no credibility. Like they came back, trying to hoodwink me into a false apology. I'm like, bro, they're like, oh, you questioning my character? No, man, your actions questioning your character. And I said that to him. I was like, it's your actions. You said X, you did Y. You said A, you did B. Like, I can't trust you. No. I'd rather lose that 116,000 because being in a deal with you, I'll probably lose a whole lot more. Because right now it stops at 116,000. But if I stay on this ship, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ends out of my bank account. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Bro, at the end of the day, business is hard.
Yeah.
And I had one, I think, but I'm gonna let you.
Let me rock. You
definitely summed up this episode but I think the value that I think this episode goes to show is one, that business can get messy.
Yeah.
Right. And every single issue that we brought up today had to do with relationships. Developing, having healthy boundaries within a relationship, understanding your worth and what you're bringing to the table in a transaction, overcoming insecurities, overcoming all of these different things. Those are the themes that I feel like really come through in all of these. Yeah. And especially being young entrepreneurs, these are things that we have to deal with in real time. Yeah. So what are some final words you think you want to share with the audience, like based off of what we talked about?
I want to kind of echo some of the things you said. Set boundaries for yourself and for your clients. Set expectations, and documentation is necessary in any business relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you sign, I sign, we sign together of who is going to be the decision maker. Ain't no 50-50. I'm sorry. It could be 50-50 in profits. It could be 50-50 in money. But somebody's got to be the one that's like, hey, I get the final say. Like, I get the final say. Like, for this podcast, Larry gets the final say. I am cool with it. I don't want the final say in no podcast. I'm good. Hey, but every relationship, there has to be that person
One that's taking the responsibility.
Take the responsibility, right? Take the responsibility. Take the accountability. Like, yo, hey, we fell short. Let's do it. And realize that relationships are more important than any monetary profit you could make. I promise you, had this individual in my number one business nightmare said, hey, we're going to lose some money or break even on this deal, can we rock together some more?
Yeah.
In the 2.5 years of this nightmare, we would have done another 2, 3, 4 deals.
Yeah.
That would have gotten some profit, right? But because you're so focused on the dollar, you lose the relationship, and in the relationship is where the gold is. That's where the true treasure is.
And one last thing I would probably add to it too is I don't want anyone to see this and be like, man, I need to be so timid, right?
No, yeah. You gotta fall forward. We talked about this in a previous episode. You have to be okay with falling forward. My son said this the other day. I laughed so hard. He said, Dad, scared money don't make no money. I said, who you been talking to, what? He said, yeah, scared money don't make no money.
I think sometimes losing money is the best way of actually getting us to be sharp.
Yeah.
Because if you never actually know what it feels like in some of these situations to lose a deal, lose a client, this, that, or the third, it's not going to force you to really get your game up.
Yeah.
And sometimes those lessons, because they're not losses, they're just lessons, right?
Amen.
You'll make the money back.
You preaching now, Doc.
You'll make the money
you
back.
Preaching now, Doc.
These are just lessons, man. And if you can say, I learned from this lesson, right? And I'm going to be sharper. I'm going to be better in the next round. You'll make it back plus some. Yeah. So it's like you got to give yourself grace too. Like, yeah, I made that loss, but like, hey, it's another day. You have to get back up, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
And you were blessed to have it to lose,
right?
And still be
able
business
to
function and feed your family. And you got to give God the glory.
Exactly. Well, that's all for today's episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more insightful discussions, please subscribe to the pod. Subscribe. And again, a special thanks to our sponsors.
Yes, sir.
Today's show, Curb and Key Realty and Next Level Media Marketing. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, no matter where you are in this journey, there's always opportunities to learn, grow, and level up. Until next time.
Peace.
You see how sweet this is?
But you know what's really sweet?
You subscribing.
Subscribe now.
Peace.